conference, conservative conference session in the summer, there was a survey done for parents, and there was very little interest for a choral camp from that survey. I had never been to a camp as a counselor. I had never been to a camp as a camper even, and so I didn't really know what happened at camps. But I decided there were some principles that I wanted to follow in setting up the camp, and so I just started thinking, how could we make this happen? I wanted the camp to be a place where students were engaged and not bored. I wanted them to be able to move and not be still, because people learn better actually when they're moving. I wanted it to be a place where they had lots of choice, not to be herded around in groups. And I wanted them to be able to associate music with the glory of God. We weren't sure we were going to have choral camp the first year. We had made up registration forms. This was before internet. There was no social media to promote it. There were just brochures at conference. And for a long time, no registrations came in. So we went on a family vacation, and I went with a feeling of relief. I don't even have to plan this camp. We only have a handful of registrations. But when I got back from vacation, we had decided we would run camp at 50 registrations. We were hoping for 70. When I got back from vacation, there were 90 registrations. We had 9 people on staff the first year. We really underestimated what we needed. At the end of that week, for the next weekend, I was crawling around my house because the bottoms of my feet were so blistered I couldn't walk. And the other 9 people were in bad shape as well. So we made big changes for the second year of Choral Camp. So I was looking at the small Madison Press paper we have one morning, and I noticed that at a preschool, the teachers had taken one of those small kiddie pools and filled it with shaving cream, and the children were sitting around the outside of the pool playing in the shaving cream with their hands. And I thought, what if we made this really, really big? So I wasn't sure about shaving cream. I actually smeared some on my eyes to see how much it hurt, because I didn't want to hurt people. But we bought this enormous tarp, and we asked each camper to bring 2 cans of shaving cream. Just before the first shaving cream slide, my stomach was in knots. I didn't know, were people going to break their legs? Were they going to break out all over? But we did it, and it worked, and we've been doing it ever since. What I enjoyed the most at Choral Camp was watching people grow. I loved watching people go from campers to counselors to hall leaders to music teachers and camp administrators. After I left Choral Camp, I didn't come back again until our first grandchildren enrolled. And when I checked our grandchildren into Choral Camp that first year, who was checking them in were the yellow campers. I remembered them. And so here are these big yellow campers giving me hugs and welcoming my grandchildren, acting so confident, still carrying the spirit of Choral Camp. I liked watching the growth of people over the years. Another thing I enjoyed at Choral Camp is watching the spirit of Choral Camp go from person to person and continue year after year. At Choral Camp, we tried to encourage people to always approach other people in positive ways. We had one negative sign at Choral Camp, and that was over the water fountain, and it said no swimming. But everything else at Choral Camp, all our language on paper and signs, and theoretically, at least coming from our mouths, was to ask people to do things, not tell them what not to do. At the very first choral camp, we ended the recitation with Festive Alleluia, the song that's still being used to end each choral camp recitation. And there's a phrase in that song. It says, "Make your life a song to God." And I hope that the main thing choral camp has taught you is to make your life a song.